Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rusty and Mojo Show, episode 22. Joining me is my co-host Mohammed, aka Mojo99, and Rudy St. Clair, aka Rudy St. Clair. And we have a special guest, Joakim Noah, aka Nicolas.
Motherfucker!
That was rich.
Hey, Rudy, go ahead and do what you got to do.
That was fantastic. Yeah. All right. Let me find a pic of Joakim Noah right quick.
Yeah. That was perfect.
Get the Jack Black, the Steven Adams, the Adam DeMamp.
Oh my God!
You lost me with Adam DeMamp.
Well,
no
you're asking for the Steven Adams thing with that mustache.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, here's the thing. Like the Joakim Noah thing, I embrace it because it's hilarious, and it got me the nickname that I have, Motown Noah. So like, it's cool. The Steven Adams thing, I don't take that as
Grizzlies. Joakim, come on, man.
He's in his bag. The hair, like when Joakim Noah was living off in the woods, he was living off the wilderness. Like that was Joakim Noah at his peak, but his hair was like blonde, like it was weird. No, but the Steven Adams thing, I think that's a compliment. It's a good looking man. Love Steven Adams.
A handsome man.
Yeah,
nice.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah,
like once every 2 or 3 months, I look up the clip of him saving Mason Plumlee from basically breaking his fucking neck.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah, I know. When you think about masculine, I think about Steven Adams. Just the basic. He looks like a lumberjack. He gives me lumberjack vibes,
and not in a annoying type of masculine way. He's a nice guy,
right?
Yeah.
The non-toxically masculine.
I'd want that man to marry my daughter one day. Someone like Steven Adams.
He is
NBA
like
DNA.
30, and your daughter hasn't even been born yet. So I don't know.
Look,
if you want him specifically.
Huge announcement. I'm having a kid.
So he'll marry her when
I was like, I'm just gonna refrain from commenting.
I was gonna say,
I'm joking.
you visiting her parents and grandparents makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it scanned as a joke very quickly, but I was like, this isn't the thing to take a risk.
Nicolas, I guess you can introduce yourself or describe yourself.
Yeah, who are
looking
you?
like Joakim Noah?
Yeah, so I'm a Pistons fan. I sort of gained my footing sort of in Pistons Twitter because I would make like post game recap videos after every single game. I would just do 2 minutes and 20 seconds of trying to sort of break it down and see what was going on. And the approach that I would try to take is, nobody wants to listen to a guy talk about things that we already know. So you try to find certain talking points or perspectives that maybe people aren't thinking about. And that sort of gained traction a little bit. The strategy that I had when I started, I just had like 500 followers. It was just people that I went to school with and, all that.
When did you start?
That was when was Blake's 50 piece? 2018? Yeah, it was the 2018-2019 season. That was when I finally decided to start doing it.
Specific
yeah, bro, don't remember when.
Sorry, I was thinking out loud, just thinking out loud to myself. So this was year 3 of doing it. And the growth that I had, like the approach was, okay, how do I like get people to find these videos? So what I would do is whether it was the Pistons final score tweet or if we're playing the Knicks, I would go to the Knicks final score tweet and I would copy and paste the link to my video, like the tweet under the, as a reply. And so that's how I would assume the first like 90% of the people that started following me found me was in like the replies. And because
promoing,
Shirtless. well, it worked though. It worked.
What you gotta do?
It got me eventually on like
okay.
ESPN, so I'm not that mad about it.
All right.
Well, you knew that. Yes, you did. We've talked about that. Yeah, we've talked about this before. Remember?
Dude, I have terrible memory.
So fast forward to this last February when Detroit beats Brooklyn. I was so excited over the win. I got in the shower. Yeah, see,
shirtless in the shower.
I was shirtless. It's actually it's my pinned tweet right now. And I was dumping Miller Lite on myself, and I was really amped up, and that caught the eyes of some people at ESPN social desk, and they had me on NBA on ESPN the next night. And I made my television. There it is. Yeah.
It's important. It's important to build a niche. And
yeah. Well, it was funny
in the shower.
Here's something that a lot of people don't know. I went on the show the next day and I was in the shower
without your shirt,
without a shirt. And people thought that was my decision. It was not. So here's a little
to do that.
So they asked me on the phone.
All of this now, by the way.
It was about 2 hours before we recorded the show, and it was pre-recorded by about 30 minutes. So I actually got to watch it live, which was really cool to see everyone's live reaction to it. But about 2 hours before the show, I get a call from two of ESPN's producers, and they're on the phone with me, and they're talking me through how the show's going to go and the pacing and all that. And I'm like, great. And the woman goes, very polite. She's like, and we think it would be great if you felt comfortable joining without a shirt. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. And she's like, if it makes you uncomfortable, please don't do it. You know, she's being very reassuring and all that. And I go, I'm going to be honest with you. It does a little bit, because this isn't how I envisioned making my television debut. And, eventually I was like, I'll think about it. I go, I got a few hours. She's like, just think about it. And then the other producer, the man that was there, he said it almost in a joking way. He goes, yeah, you should just join from the shower too. And she goes, oh my goodness, that would be great. And I was like, oh, you guys are putting me in a box.
Yeah, bug it. Holy shit.
So I eventually get off the phone with them, and I call, for those who don't know, I do a podcast with James Edwards III. He writes for The Athletic, for the Pistons. Him and I do a show together. And I call him immediately after, and he's like, you got to do it. He's like, you have to lean into this brand and sort of just adopt it, right? Because it's something character. That exactly right. Like, adopt this persona, because you're the one that did this in the first place, right? You can't back out now. Like, you were the one that were shirtless and pouring beer on yourself in the shower, all this. And so obviously I eventually did it. The problem was, I don't know why I thought I needed to do this. People probably thought I just wasn't wearing a shirt. I was butt ass naked. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
What if the camera just accidentally fell down?
Yeah.
They made a joke about that on the show. They made a joke about that. The guy's like, I hope your camera doesn't pan down. And I laughed it off. But in my head, I was like, he has no idea.
Butt ass naked doing an ESPN interview. What
the
fuck?
That is
TV,
okay, that's the title of the podcast.
Getting naked on ESPN.
Yeah, it was perfect. Literally,
Probably will get flagged, but who cares?
The tweet that I had after was like, I did it. I finally made my ESPN debut, and I was naked in the bathtub. And so that was sort of where the videos took me. I wouldn't change it for among other things. But yeah.
Oh, that's fucking gorgeous, dog. My God, I just looked it up right now, and you weren't lying.
It's on YouTube. Yeah,
knowing you were naked. How many views is that?
Not like 3,000. Yeah,
not a lot.
Yeah, knowing you were naked during that recontextualizes the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. People thought I just wasn't wearing a shirt. No, I did the whole thing.
Because 100%. That's logical. Why would you take your pants off?
I don't know. I realized it. So how it worked was I was.
This felt right.
Well, I guess I was literally sitting there like crouching down in the tub, and I'm waiting for them to call because it was over FaceTime. And I told them, I was like, I don't know if my bathroom has the best acoustics. I can't, I don't have the foam to, soundproof my bathroom. And it's totally fine. What sucked was when I kind of looked down, and I was like, they could call any second, and I'm not wearing clothes. So I literally stood up to adjust my camera a little bit. Now, obviously what the camera is seeing when I'm standing up in front of it is, they started to call me at that second. And when you're getting a FaceTime, you immediately see your reflection of what the camera's about to see. So I'm thinking that the call has already been answered, and it's just my penis that's on the show right now. And I realized that's not what it was.
Debut.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. I immediately got down. I fixed my hair. I answered the call, and it was great. They were very nice. It was about a 10-minute. I was only on the call for about 10 minutes for a 5-minute segment, but it was great.
I was going to say, was it live?
It was like I said earlier, it was pre-recorded. So I think it aired at 5:30. We shot it at 4:30.
I just imagined and viral video on Pistons Twitter. We have Nicolas joining us for the show, coming live. Oh.
Yeah. It was cool. I mean, so there's that. And then
career over.
In my in my bio, I have champion of Pistons Twitter. ESPN thought that was self-proclaimed. It is not. They tweeted that they tweeted the self-proclaimed champion of Pistons Twitter, and Pistons Twitter was quite pissed about that. I rightfully won that title. So every single year we do a Pistons Twitter bracket. It's like a March Madness style round of 64. With the 64 best accounts in Pistons Twitter. So last year I won. And it was because of Luke Kennard and Blake Griffin. They supported me and told people to vote for me. And if I won, they were going to give stuff away. These tweets are still up. You can go find them. For people,
you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying for people who are watching and for people who know me, they know I've talked about this a bunch because people ask about it a lot, but I know you guys don't. So Luke and I had developed a pretty good relationship. Jacob, I think you might know this. I don't actually know if you do or not. Which is why in my bio it says president of the Luke Kennard fan club. But yeah, he tweeted, he's like, hey, vote for Nick. If he wins, I'll give away a pair of signed shoes, which he did. Him and I were supposed to do a live stream of us playing Warzone. Our schedules never matched up. He was always training or doing something, and so we just didn't end up doing it. And then Blake Griffin tweeted if at Nicolas Henkel wins, I'll give away a signed jersey. And he actually did give one away. It was crazy. It was awesome. That was one of the coolest moments of my life. And I won the Pistons Twitter bracket because of that. So that's who I am. And that's what I'm about.
That was long-winded, but well worth it.
Yeah.
It's going to be awkward bringing this up in front of Mojo, but I think I DM'd you after Luke Kennard had that second half versus the Hawks. Yeah. I was like, Nicolas I'm sure he's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, anytime he does anything, man, it's I get a lot of tweets. I get a lot of DMs.
I also had
about
to text Mojo about that, make sure he wasn't on suicide watch.
Yeah, I remember that game. I was literally
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I was literally tripping balls just because of how shocked I was. I'm this man, Luke turned into Luka, and it was giving me PTSD. I'm like, bro, where is this coming from?
In the second half,
yeah, he actually played like he was worth his contract, which is damn, that's crazy.
Was that the half court shot
in front of his friend? Good lord.
Well, no, it's fine. Was that the game that he hit the half court shot? I don't remember.
Yeah, he hit it.
I think so.
Yeah.
He had the great third quarter, and he ended it with a half court shot. I was like, all right, this guy's.
I'm pretty sure I think there was a Euro in there too. I just want to throw that out there. Yeah,
half court.
Yeah,
that was the best game I've seen him play in my life.
He's like that. Well, People don't think he is because Ty Lue doesn't play him. Luke's like
exactly.
that. I mean,
exactly. I actually liked him too coming out of college. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
Based on what I saw from Luke thus far, on top of just when he isn't hurt, which is a big factor, he can be a little timid sometimes.
Yes.
But for the most part, very good shooter and has creating off of the dribble abilities. I think he averaged 4 or 5 assists on the Pistons his last year there when he was healthy.
Yeah. Which, by the way, was only 2 weeks. And then he had
it did happen.
No, it was a real thing. The biggest thing going into that year was we learned that Luke was a really strong playmaker, and he can be as much of a threat on the ball as he was off the ball. He actually turned out to be a really strong pick and roll guy too. His passing became really, really impressive, and obviously the knee thing really kind of took it out. But no, he's I forgot where I was going with this, but it is a little bit frustrating to me what his you were talking about the tentativeness. That's what it is. That's the thing that pisses me off. Dude. It even makes me mad. You are on a team full of guys, pre-trade deadline, post-trade deadline, even with Lou Williams gone, these guys are not afraid to shoot the basketball. So when you do have these opportunities, you can get a shot off in a phone booth. Shoot the damn ball. It is really annoying. It's nice to know that it wasn't just a Detroit thing. It is a Clipper thing too. But yeah, no, he's like that.
I was about to say, go ahead.
You go ahead. Okay. You let me go ahead last time.
All right, fair enough. I was going to say, Jacob, it's nice to know where your alliances really fall because you did not text me after Luke Kennard had his best game of the season against Memphis this year. So,
Was it better than the Hawks game?
I mean, he had 28-7 and 2, 6 of 7 from 3, and they won.
I don't think I watched that game. I watched the Luke Kennard Hawks game.
Yeah, I remember seeing that video on your second channel, like reacting to it or whatever.
Yeah, I don't watch Grizzlies games. People get mad at me for that. I only watch like one. I probably watched like 6-7 Grizzlies games this year, and everyone gets mad at me.
Went from 1 to 6 or 7 in the course of like 2 seconds, but that's
fuck
cool.
you. I was over exaggerating at the start. There's just
I understand Nick's pain.
Not that interesting to watch, and the Grizzlies.
I feel that
up there for me.
Yeah, I don't know why, even though they have a job. But anyways, like I was saying,
because there's nothing about that team that's even remotely exciting outside of Ja.
Yeah.
Or we got Xavier Tillman Sr. We got John Conchar.
I want to tune into a game for John Conchar. Said nobody fucking ever.
I love Conchar, man. Conchar's the best. John Conchar is like the greatest in case of emergency, break glass player.
Break glass, yeah.
Yeah.
I really miss.
Yeah.
I really miss watching John Lure play basketball.
Oh, John Lure. Grizzlies legend.
Costa Koufis. What about him?
John Lure.
Koufis roasted me on Twitter once.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
No one named Koufis can roast me. I don't care if you're a millionaire.
he told me to shave my mustache. I think that's what the tweet was. Yeah.
It's low hanging fruit.
What'd you do to him?
I'll have to find the tweet. You guys, here, I'm going to ask you guys a question while I find the tweet. Favorite NBA arena? Not yours. Like, don't say United. Don't say your own arena. Say like for me, it's Moda Center. I think it has the best lighting in the entire league. The concourse is beautiful. The hardwood itself is really pretty. I love everything about Moda Center up in Portland.
Like design of the court, I guess.
Yeah. FedEx Forum is up there too. You want to talk shit about the Grizzlies? I actually like FedEx Forum.
I can tell you just from the point of view of like, when the Grizzlies bring out that alternative court, that's probably my favorite one in the league. But in terms of environment, it's not as impactful now when they're not as good, but I've never felt energy through a TV more than watching a Warriors game. Because their fans are fucking insane.
Yeah.
And what's the thing about that is when you have insane amount of fans doing crazy things gets those fans even louder. And because the Warriors were as good as they were for so long, they were doing those ridiculous things once every 5 possessions.
Yeah.
So it was just nonstop screaming, basically.
For me, it may just be super basic answer, the Hornets arena. I really like it a lot. Those colors, blue is one of my favorite colors, period.
Well, I've been to the Hornets arena like 8 times. It's one of the smallest ones in the league.
Really?
Yeah, and capacity-wise, it's one of the lower ones in the league. But Charlotte in general is just a awesome, underrated city. So I love going there every time I can.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna have to go with that.
If they make it, I'm gonna go to a playoff tournament. He found the tweet.
I sent it to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what it was
would have been more impressive if he found it.
was so the Kings had tweeted, and that was what, 2017? Is that the date on the tweet? So in 2017, the Kings tweeted like a mock-up cover of 2K18 with Koufis on the front. And I replied, and I said, fire your PR person or account manager. Whoever created this photo needs to lose their job. Angsty 19-year-old Nick. I said, whoever created this photo needs to lose their job. And he replied, you need to lose your mustache.
That's a fair comeback. I'll be honest. You poked the bear.
Yeah.
I earned it. I think my reply was like, ha, 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 with like 100 laughing emojis. He got me. I can't run from it. It was funny.
A little over the top for a reply, but that's fine.
Well,
yeah, I never had an interaction with an NBA player yet on Twitter. I'm sure you have before, right, Jacob? Some Bulls player, I think.
I'm not going to lie. My main interaction that I can point to, I'm kind of ashamed of now because he's actually pretty decent. He just had a crazy-ass game, Cameron Payne.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
I cannot tell you the amount of
he went crazy last game
I had for Cameron Payne when he was a Chicago Bull. So after Cameron had like a 1 for 12 performance, he tweeted something like, keep up with that hate. It fuels me. And I just replied, here's some more hate. You fucking suck.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He liked the tweet. He didn't say anything to me, but he liked it. So I know he saw it. And honestly, I'm going to pull a Stephen A. I'm the reason Cameron Payne is decent now. he took my hate as motivation, and what can I say?
I mean, he declared it himself. It's not even you. He said, like, keep it up, you know, and he did.
I technically just gave him more.
Yeah.
In a way, he asked for it.
Yeah. I believe my only interaction with the NBA player on Twitter, at least the only one that I could remember, is I had Quinn Richardson retweet me. And it was weird because, like, I don't think I was in his mentions or anything like that. I think it was literally like he was searching Steve Nash's name or something like that. It might have been in his mentions. I really don't remember. But he retweeted me when I was just like praising Steve Nash, saying that he could have easily averaged like 20 plus points a game, but he was like a super team oriented guy who like knew what his priorities were as a point guard. And then Quinn Richardson was like, I am a former teammate of Steve Nash. I agree with the statement. Retweet.
I forgot my biggest one. You mentioned searching up name. After I dropped a video on the greatest six men of all time and called Jamal Crawford one of the most overrated players ever, he followed me on Twitter.
Yeah, and then he unfollowed you, right?
Then he unfollowed like a day later.
That's so intimidating, dude. He just let you know. He's like, bitch, I see you. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, man.
Rudy, I sent Rudy probably my biggest one, if you want to throw that up.
Yeah. I'll throw that up right now.
I don't know. This was 2014, so I was 16 when this happened. This player was it wasn't quite their time, but it was, which is a little bit of a teaser, by the way, of what player it is. But they were, see, it's pretty funny. I'll just wait for him to throw it up.
Whoa, what?
You got kicked?
He was doing an AMA, and I asked him, I don't know if you guys remember Kick, the messenger app.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I asked him, I was like, you got Kick? He said, no. That was it. I asked Damian Lillard if he had Kick. He said, no.
It's probably best that Damian Lillard didn't have Kick.
I don't know. I feel like Kick is what perverts use to.
Yep.
Well, in 2014, now it is, but in 2014, like when I was in middle school and like maybe my freshman year of high school, but like when I was in middle school, that was like the wave. Like that was like,
oh, absolutely.
WhatsApp or something.
My girlfriend in high school, we only talked on fucking Kick.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Same, bro. That was the wave. That was definitely the wave.
I might end up playing team up with Tyrese Halliburton tomorrow, so that will be one, I guess. Hopefully I do better than the first time. I went 4 for 13 with Shaq.
Oh my God. How?
Look,
I didn't even watch the video, but 2
of the shots I didn't mean to take. One of them I pump faked. The other one I passed out of, but 2K was like, fuck you.
Okay, 2 for 12.
Neither of those. Can you do math? I said 4 for 13. It'd be 4 for 11.
Oh, I thought I misheard you.
I didn't mean to shoot 2 of them and they both went in.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, bad.
Just throwing up threes with fucking Shaq.
But that was a fun experience. So I'm doing that after this. But yeah, not too many interactions. I do kind of wonder. I'm like, what subscriber count do I have to get to where I'm like Dom is just hanging out with Tyrese Halliburton, or Kenny just gets to talk to 50 different NBA players.
Yeah. And get these fucking crazy package hauls sent to him.
Yeah.
Or no, I forgot. I'm sorry. He spent money on that. The name of the video was literally like, I spent $35,000 on all these jerseys, or on these mystery boxes and shit, which was a great video, Kenny. It was amazing. I forgot. I want to amend that was not sent to him for free, but yeah.
I have to appreciate the casual flex of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have dropped 35K. I mean, I know you can. I know what I've seen your social blade, but like,
dude, I tweeted this once. I think I don't remember if it was I almost hit him or if he almost hit me, but I'm pretty sure on Lakeshore Drive, because obviously he lives in Chicago, so do I. I almost hit a Tesla, and I'm pretty sure it was Kenny. This was months ago.
You should have hit him so you could meet him.
I'm such a big fan. Like I didn't know how to get your attention.
You.
I had to get a selfie, so sorry about the fucked up car.
Like, brother, I was just testing the self-driving on your new car. I wanted to make sure it was square. Just like it doesn't work.
Brake check.
Clearly, you need to get some upgrades,
man. Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna meet Kenny in person for the first time. I'm just gonna rear end him.
How tall is he?
I think he's as tall as me.
5'7", 5'8".
Yeah. Normal person height.
I plan on going to Chicago at some point in a couple of months, and I told Kenny I'm going to play one-on-one versus you, and I'm gonna win. And he just goes, bet, easy money.
I'll film it.
Oh, I remember that.
I'll film it.
Sounds fun. I am 6'3", he is 5'7". I have a significant height advantage.
What are you gonna? Because I know you guys talk about like your play styles and stuff like that sometimes on the show. Do you mix it up in the paint? Like, what do you do?
Oh,
Rusty's a one-trick pony. Don't let him fool you. He's like Zion, but without any of the athleticism.
The audacity. Well, yeah, I was Zion Wade at one point. I said before, like I score like Jokic, just not good. Like all of my shots are at awkward angles. I can't jump at all. And I shoot slow jumpers where my feet do not leave the ground. And that's about it. Can't pass worth shit. My defense can be good when I really care. And sometimes it's just like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to try. And when that happens, I'm all right. But
against Kenny, you would obviously care that you are fully locked in. Yeah. Are you training for this event? Like, what are you?
I mean, I'm just trying to lose weight in general. I don't.
Sure.
Yeah. I thought when I would play Mojo, I would care more on defense. But after he got up, like, I think like 7-2, I was like, just end it.
I remember literally during the game, you're like you said something like, "Go easy on me, man," or something like that. You said something like that.
The day before, I nearly had a fucking heat stroke, so I thought it was fair. You don't kill me.
It was like one of the hottest days of the year in Atlanta, or some shit like that. And it was just dry as hell, like no humidity.
And then Mojo's like, "Damn, he couldn't take me." I nearly fucking died, and you're like, wow, ducking games, huh?
Yeah, I remember that. Good times, dog. Good times.
Just waiting for somebody to talk.
Yeah, no, we're all just being polite.
Yeah.
What's your game like, Nick?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know, I was just talking about this on the show.
How tall are you too?
If you had to guess, how tall do you think I am?
5'11".
Wait. 5'11".
I'm going 5'9".
Fuck you. Rudy, what do you think?
Based on that, I'm going to go 6'1.5".
6'1.5". I like that. So here's the problem. I saw a tweet about this, and I've never related to. I feel attacked. I felt attacked, as they say. So I was really bothered because I saw this tweet that said guys who say they're 5'11" are actually 5'10", and guys who say they're 6 foot are actually 5'11". Here's the problem. I'm actually 5'11". So it's like,
boom! I nailed it.
I'm not lying. But it's just like I'm not going to say 6 foot because I'm obviously not 6 foot. Sometimes I will lie and say I'm 5'10" just because I don't want it to, I'm 5'11".
I love there's a meme that was like 5'11" versus 6 foot.
I'm like, yeah.
Like that 1 inch makes the whole difference.
In terms of like my game, I was just talking about this shameless plug, the Bun and Cardigan Show, available on all streaming platforms, wherever you find podcasts. We were just talking about it on the show the other day. Growing up, like what really got me into basketball was when Steph was at Davidson. That was 2009. So I hadn't even turned 11 yet. I was 10 during his March Madness run. And I had said, wherever he goes, like I'm going to love that team. And that ended up being true. So growing up and watching him, like whenever there was an open gym, I would literally I was the guy who would take off the dribble 35 footers. I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man. And I watch basketball every single night. I never developed my left. I can't finish with my left. To this day, I still can't, because all I've ever focused on was shooting. And I'm going to tell you something. I can't shoot.
That's the worst type of.
You're literally the worst type of player.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the worst. It's not like first of all, if I'm in if we're doing fives, I'm not the guy who's throwing stuff up. I'm way too tentative. I pass a lot and I play a lot of defense. I'm like Bruce Brown or like DeAnthony Melton, and like I'll shoot from the corner because like that's where I'll play. My best, I do have one move. I have one trick in my bag that is indefensible and it goes in like 60% of the time. which isn't a great success rate, but relative to everything else that I have. It's a baseline turnaround. It's a bucket every single time. So I have that. I'm a good free throw shooter too. But yeah, when I'm like, if it's just me, I'm throwing up everything, obviously. But if we're doing an actual run, I'm not that guy. I'm not actually that dude.
I love shooting fadeaways, so I relate to the baseline thing, but I'm not that great at them. I did hit 4 of them in our 21 game in my IRL video, but 3 of them were against 5'1" Rudy.
Oh my God, I'm not 5'1".
Sooner or later, people are going to believe that.
The one shot where I pump faked, picked up my dribble, and was kind of trapped and still hit it. That one was impressive, but the other ones was just shooting over a chair.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you can make them, put them up, whatever, man. My game consists of just like being goofily aggressive on defense and trying to make open shots.
Yeah, it's funny because he's short. When he was defending me, he was like, I can't get in the way of his shot, so I'm just gonna like put all of my strength into his legs and throw him off.
Stretched his arms, chest out, and he was squatting.
Yeah, at one point I was literally like leaning my shoulder into your like upper back thigh when you were backing me down. Like I could have pulled the chair on you maybe, but I'm not that I don't have that good of a feel for the game yet. I was as you know from our previous episode, playing 2-on-2 with some normal sized people and a child. And it was fun backing him down in the post and hitting a hook shot over him. At one point, they were like, "Oh, he can shoot," and I was like, "Oh shit, I can shoot." So that was nice.
The title of our last podcast is "Dream Shaking a 9-Year-Old."
Yeah,
so evil, bro.
I have a question for all of you, like an actual question. This is a basketball question. So when you are watching a game, whether it's your own team or you're just watching some Kings Pels game on League Pass or something, or illegal streaming, because we're all adults here. In a half-court set, how are you guys watching the game? Are you paying attention to specifically whoever has the ball? Are you paying attention to sort of the defensive scheme happening? Are you watching, there's a flare screen, there's a hammer screen. Like, this is the intricacies of what's making this play work. Like, how do you guys watch the game when it's on?
It depends how I'm watching.
Yeah, it completely depends.
Okay.
Because if I'm like, especially now that I'm doing like post-game recap videos, I'm like, okay, I have talked a good amount about the Celtics and they're playing the Hornets. So I'm going to pay a lot more attention to what the Hornets are doing than what the Celtics are doing.
Sure.
So like when the Celtics are on offense, I'm more focusing on the Hornets defense and then Hornets on offense, all that stuff. I will say my next step, I guess, towards understanding and being smarter with basketball just in general is that I need to get better at recognizing play sets and things like that. That's the thing that I still struggle with. Like I can still get an idea of like pin downs and things like that, but I'm not like, that is a floppy 36. I don't know what that fucking is.
The thing is that you could have made that up just now and it would have completely gone past me.
Well, I recognize I recognize floppy from 2K.
Yeah, I was like about to say that sounds vaguely familiar. I don't know what the number
floppy just means a guy coming off screen for a 3, generally speaking.
Gotcha.
Which apparently is a floppy action. I don't know.
I mean, I can recognize some sets, but it's only just from like watching Coach Nick 5 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a real thing, though. That's real. That's real.
I'm more interested. I find defensive schemes interesting. I really love watching the Heat for that reason. And I find the Bucks interesting. Their defensive scheme has gotten a lot better this year. But I've always really enjoyed watching particularly like really great help defenders. Giannis, I think, is up there with the best help defenders of all time
ever.
And the Bucks had a defensive scheme. It's not, they don't lean into it as much this year, but where like Brook Lopez would drop and his huge ass body with his arms up was always in front of the basket. And if something else snuck around that, Giannis came around on the weak side and was about to send that shit to the fucking second row. But the problem was they often overcommitted to defending to the paint to where they'd leave very easy 3-point attempts open.
But the thing is, like, that was part of their scheme. They wanted those guys who had those easy threes to fucking take them because they can't shoot. That's just where the NBA is at right now.
But here's the thing. They would still defend even good 3-point offenses like that. And that's
Miami.
been the bane of their existence. Miami very often. But this
Isn't
year,
there like a meme that's like Pitbull just saying Miami? That's what came to my mind just now.
I don't know, but this year the Bucks defense does not overcommit to the paint like it used to. Like already Giannis and Brook Lopez, that's plenty of paint defense. But then like Chris Middleton would come in to help, and it's like, dude, just stick on your guy. This isn't necessary.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing with them this year, because for those who don't know, Bucks Twitter like adopted me as one of their correspondents. So I'm a big Bucks guy. Like I have a lot of Bucks stuff because of them.
You got to have a winning team when your team is losing.
Right. Usually
I got the Nuggets.
It pisses Pistons fans off because A, Chris Middleton, and B, because they're our rival and they've beaten us 14 times in a row.
Really? Yeah. Holy fuck.
That's including the playoffs. I think it's 13, but it might be 14. We're well into double digits. But I really like them. And Sacramento's the same because Grant Napier and I, really, I know people.
Any relation to Shabazz?
Yeah. I also don't even like Shabazz because I'm a Michigan State fan. So I just think about the tourney run that they had where they knocked out Michigan State and won the Natty.
Yeah, the series that made LeBron fall in love with them allegedly.
Yeah.
And then they're like, LeBron, Pat's like, we're gonna draft Shabazz. You're gonna stay. LeBron's like, yeah, for sure. No, I'm fucking not. It's like when Colin Sexton gets drafted. He's like, LeBron. One more year.
Fuck that reporter for asking that. Genuinely, that was so fucking terrible.
What are they gonna? Yeah,
don't ask.
Read the room. Read the room. Yeah,
don't ask. But a 19-year-old to be like, pitch LeBron fucking James. Right now, you just got drafted. Talk to LeBron.
Yeah. Back on the Bucks though, like I tweet this intermittently throughout the season. I have said the same thing. I'll go back and watch a Bucks game, or I'll just go on advanced stats and watch certain possessions, and I'll find wherever Milwaukee switches, and they have become so good at it this season, something that they wouldn't do under Budenholzer in the last 2 years. And Miami was sort of the tipping point where it's like, hey, we actually need to start switching these guys. So they've gotten really good at it out of pick and rolls. Obviously, when you have Drew Holiday, who's probably a top 2 on-ball defender in the entire game, that helps a lot. One of the only guys in the league who can defend 1 through 5, like it's fucking Drew Holiday. So that's helped them a lot. Dante DiVincenzo's been kind of wishy-washy on defense. Obviously, Giannis and Chris. And Brooks been kind of, you know who they kind of miss? I can't believe I'm about to say this. If I'm Milwaukee, I'm kind of like, I really liked Ersan Ilyasova drawing 60 charges a year.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who just specializes in drawing charges.
That's all he did in Detroit. That's why I loved him, because that dude's going to...
Thaddeus Young does that for the Bulls. It's awesome.
Yeah, and there's something to be said. Like, he's 6 fouls and 3 charges a game. Perfect. Right? That's what we need from him. So, you talk about that role being Brook Lopez.
The king of being a bunch of fouls.
Yeah, and
R.I.P. KJ McDaniels.
I don't know.
Deserves another shot.
Are you okay? There's a question. What player do you guys think was maybe drafted to the wrong team and they didn't get a chance to shine in the way that in your heart they could have?
Daniel Gafford.
Well, he's playing well.
That's my point.
Gotcha. Well, no, this guy has to be out of the league. Like his NBA career is done.
Here's the thing. I think KJ McDaniels is somebody that I always go like, he's good enough to be an NBA player. When he was on the Sixers, I would watch the Sixers for KJ McDaniels and Tony Roten. I understand why Tony's not in the league. I understand that. But KJ, like, genuinely a very, very good on-ball defender, a crazy transition athlete, good finisher. His jump shot, not good. But other than that, like, he at the very least could have a not as great Bruce Brown type role, I think. And because the Sixers traded him to the Rockets, they just doomed him. Like, the Rockets are like, okay, I don't know why they traded for him because they didn't fucking play him ever, other than to foul players intentionally.
Yeah.
Shit. Easy cop-out question would be like someone like Isaiah Thomas right now. But someone in my mind that I always think about for some weird reason, ironically enough, you're on this show. Is Brandon Knight. I just think about him a lot, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I never even
fan. You're talking to a Pistons.
I know. It's so ironic too. But
Tread lightly.
played. Brandon Knight played really well last year on the Pistons for the brief stretch when he was back.
Yeah, I want your output on Brandon Knight. Sounds like you don't like him like
Clearly,
that.
we've triggered.
Well, brother, no. You finish what you're going to say because I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish what you're saying about Brandon Knight. Gas him up.
I don't know. I'm not gassing him because I don't know enough about him. I just have vivid memories of liking him on games like 2K, and I'm being real.
Which is fair. Like you have those 2K guys. Like Luke Babbitt was a fucking bucket in 2K.
Yeah.
Luke Babbitt was not a bucket in real life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Listen, Brandon Knight, he played really well for Detroit at the post February 6th trade deadline. Wow. Who the fuck else was going to? You know what I mean? What are we talking about? We brought in Derek Walton. Derek Walton played for us for like 3 games. That's a real thing that happened. That's how thin we were.
Look,
who the hell else was going to do it?
My point was he shot well from 3. He playmaked well. That's good enough to be a minimum third string point guard.
I don't think he should be out of the league. I will say that.
I'm not saying he's great.
Yeah.
No.
But he shot 40% from 3 on like 7 attempts.
He wasn't,
good playmaking.
I agree with that. I've never believed in his ability to pass out of a pick and roll. It's the same reason I don't like Davion Mitchell in this upcoming draft. Just I'll throw that out there because people like talking about the draft.
I don't know anything about the draft. So.
Well, that's right, because I was bitching about NBA or draft Twitter the other day, and you were like, dude, calm down. It's not that serious. And I was just really worked up about it. I will say, yeah, his 3-point shot has been, sort of his saving grace, I guess, in the league to an extent. I think when we think of Brandon Knight, we just think of always being on the holy shit end of these insane plays. Yeah. And that's not an indictment on where he is as a player. Am I mad at him for DeAndre Jordan putting his ass in the basket? No, I'm not going to fault the guy for jumping on that.
Yeah. No, you commend that. It's respect, bro.
100%.
You know your life is about it. Yeah, respect.
Your life is flashing before your eyes, and you're putting yourself in front of that. I'm not mad at you at all. Now, when Kyrie makes your knees slap together,
but at the same time, how many players have had their knees slapped together because of Kyrie?
Right. On All-Star Weekend too, you do that to yourself. You had no obligation.
That's what you get for trying to play defense in the rookie sophomore.
It's divine justice.
Yeah.
I remember Brandon Knight being so hyped up as a prospect that people were looking at him as like a dark horse number 1 overall pick.
Wasn't
over
he
Kyrie.
drafted over Kemba?
Was it that?
Am I that right year? No, I don't think I'm in the right year.
I don't know. The thing I remember most about Brandon Knight is people talking about Cleveland perhaps drafting him instead of Kyrie.
Am I thinking of for debt, or am I just getting years completely mixed up in my head?
Who knows, man? Drafts are hard to memorize for sure.
Yeah.
There's fucking 60 dudes chosen every year.
I know there was some guard picked over Kemba that was like in hindsight, that was not a good pick.
Speaking of the draft, how you feel about your man Killian Hayes? I'm just gonna put this out there. I am a firm believer in Killian Hayes, and he was like my 3rd favorite prospect out of this class.
I wanted the Bulls to get him very badly.
Yeah. I'm in love with that man.
The first of all, thank you, because if you were about to slander him, I was going to say we got to cut this. I'm not. I'm out. It's funny, just on the Bulls thing with Killian, there was this big panic, and some people thought that it was like a plant, like a smoke screen by Troy Weaver. That
I was right. Brandon Knight was picked 1 pick by the Pistons ahead of Kemba Walker.
Yeah. Thanks, Jacob.
It's not like Kemba Walker was going to save the Pistons.
Well, yeah, he didn't save Charlotte, so you're not wrong. But okay, I'll skip off the thing. No, with Killian this season, obviously he plays 7 games. You take the throw him to the fire approach. In the preseason, he kind of looked. I'm a big fan of it. Like the day that he was drafted, from everything that I was told, and then it was obviously subsequently reported, we were under the impression like, hey, Killian's going to start, and people were like, oh my god, they're going to start a 19-year-old in front of Derrick Rose. How disrespectful is that?
That seemed obvious to me.
They did it all year last year. He was on a minutes restriction the entire season, and nobody complained about it. You know why? Because people thought that he might be able to win 6th man of the year, because it was like a holy shit. Okay, Minnesota was like, Derrick Rose is back, but Detroit was like, oh, Derrick Rose can still play, right? Yeah. And there was a reason. Excuse me. There was a reason he specifically asked at the trade deadline, please do not trade me. I am thriving in this role. I really like being the 6th off the bench in this minute restriction. As the season went on and nothing mattered, they're like, fuck it, play Derrick Rose 40 minutes. Who cares? But it made complete sense. Well, yeah, it made complete sense. Now, Killian to start the year, there was definitely a pacing issue. There was definitely he really went to his side steps and his step backs an awful lot. And I wasn't mad at the confidence with which he shot the ball. I was mad at the selection itself, considering they seldom went in. I did think it was funny that his first points as a Piston, although it might have been the preseason, and I think it was an and one with his right hand.
Yeah.
Which was the biggest thing about him is he can't use his right. But he can, though. And then, after 7 games, he has the hip injury, and we're all like, fuck. We'll lose a lot of games, but like, fuck.
That was
the worst thing you'd like to. It's the worst thing that could possibly happen to any like young rookie.
Yeah, 100%.
Worst thing. So
100%. And we knew we were going to lose a lot of games, but we wanted to lose a lot of games while watching Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, and all these guys.
Exactly.
So so you take out Killian out of the equation and whatever. So he finally comes back, and there's this weird and frustrating thing that he does. I fundamentally love everything about his game, but there's one thing that he does that drives me insane. Another problem that he had, let me also say this, to start the season was Killian would always dribble the ball into chaos with no plan. And he would try to pass out of it, and it was always a turnover, and it just didn't make any sense. Like he would always just dribble the ball. It was maddening. And you don't have that so much right now. But what you do have is he goes into the paint, and any point guard who's at least 6'5" and has a strong floater, that's my point guard. That is who I want on my basketball team. Killian has both of those, but I don't know what the hell's going on with his floater, because it's like there's no wrist. It's all just like elbow, and it's just like it's almost like he's taking a jumper, but like his offhand isn't supporting the ball. It's weird. It's a clunky ass floater.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it never goes in. But the way that he's seeing the floor right now, some of the bounce passes that he's making, I don't know if you guys remember. It was actually on Bleacher Report. Yeah, there was the one pass I think he had to Sadiq, like full court. He put spin on it. I don't know how he got the ball. I think it was against the Bulls.
He had a crazy good game against the Bulls.
Yeah. He had a game recently. He had 21, 7, and 8. Turnovers here and there are still a problem. He's 19 years old. It's
that's normal. Yeah.
Guys like Kevin O'Connor and people like myself who are like, this guy's the best point guard in the draft. Maybe we were either wrong or a few years off. I would imagine probably the former. Probably the former, sure. But there's definitely a lot of progress with him, and the 2-man stuff that he's going to be running with Jeremy, obviously Jacob's guy. The 2-man stuff that he's going to be running with Isaiah is going to be really interesting. Defensively, he's the best defensive point guard that Detroit has had in over a decade.
Yeah. I know. That's why I wanted him alongside Trae Young. I knew he wouldn't be good at all, like his rookie season, because 19, timid here and there once in a while.
And guards struggle typically. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm thinking of Killian 3-4 years later. I'm like, bro, I want to see this man next to Trae, and he'd complement him perfectly. Yeah. But he's gonna be another compliment for maybe a Cade Cunningham. That's what I want. Get the choice plan should be, or was this season, get laid every night for Cade.
100%. And I'm fully on board. Like I want Evan Mobley a lot. Like Evan Mobley is one of the best basketball players I've ever seen in my life, point blank period. Can I ask you a question as a Hawks fan though? Can you talk to me a little bit about what is going on with Okongwu this season? Because I don't get it.
So at first, earlier on this season, it was so frustrating because he was giving me Bruno Fernando vibes, and you probably know what that is. You may not. I don't know.
Wait, well, here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact
for the fantastic name.
So here's really quick. Here's why I know who Bruno Fernando is. So every single season, I don't mean to cut you off again, but I compile a list of my favorite obscure players in the league, and I call them the Motown Noah All-Star Team. Bruno Fernando is on my team. I fucking love Bruno Fernando. So yes, I know who Bruno Fernando is.
That's what's up.
Go ahead.
That's what's up. Yeah, I don't really know. Bruno Fernando used to get like a hella minutes last year, but last year is because we always had nobody else to play. And it was kind of by force. And Bruno, he was just existing out there on the court, and he wouldn't really do much and put himself in good positions. I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but he just wouldn't make any real impact in the game. And Okongwu was doing the exact same thing. I'm seeing how he moved. He was coming off of an injury, which again really sucks. So I'm giving him like a kind of a pass for that. But as of late, he's been a heck of a lot better. Just recently, like maybe a week ago, he had like he scored like 14 or 15, his career high, and he was putting on a fucking defensive clinic the other night. I forget who it was against. I think it was some Western Conference team, but he's been a lot better. Now, I'm in my next YouTube video, I'm making a video called Draft Regrets or whatever, and I mentioned how I'm not sure if I would have taken Oyeko Okongwu again just because of how great and youngish Clint Capella is. I'm not sure if I would take him, but he's still really good. He's nice. I'm not sure if he'd be as good as a lot of people think he would be, but I still like him a lot.
Should have drafted Isaiah Stewart.
I was going to say, I don't mean to be a homer, but if you're taking a pig, you're taking Isaiah Stewart. He's literally the best center that came out of this last draft.
Yeah.
Right now, he is.
I do want to say, just in general, I enjoy being like a fan of more niche players. And like pretty much almost every player on the Pistons is niche because 100%. It's the Pistons right now.
100%.
So like, I love Isaiah Stewart. I love Sadiq Bey. And I'm gonna invest in this early.
Yeah, 100%.
Pistons just in general drafted really well. Even Saban Lee. I haven't seen a lot from him, but he's been good in the time that I've seen him.
Yeah, he's 100%. Well. He's been which people shit on us the night after, and us as Pistons fans were like, we just got again at the time the best point guard in the draft. We got one of the best rim scorers in the entire country last season, statistically the best shooter in the entire draft, and Saban Lee, who was one of the all-time leading scorers in like SEC history, not one of the all-time leading scorers. I don't remember what his records were, but we were like, we're cracked out of our minds right now. What the hell is going on? Like, this was an amazing draft.
4 genuine prospects out of a draft is nuts.
Wild.
Rebuilding.
But you watch this season, and Isaiah Stewart is sort of like, let me say this, just to your point about, appreciating the niche players. I had this whole theory that I was going to like make a video about. I didn't really know what medium I wanted to put it in, but I'll just say it here. When you think of like stan culture, I don't care about the people who I don't care about Hoodie Curry or Legoat 23 or like KD, whatever. Like, I don't care about those guys. I care about people like Snell Season, right? I care about like the Jeff Green stands. No, but seriously, the people who
deserve stands.
First people who stand irregular players.
I want you to stand the role players because then you understand the oil that makes the machine run in the first place, right? You are appreciating the intricacies of the game on a level that aren't just international. They are fundamentally important to the game itself. And that makes me know that, okay, you do care about this. Is Baines Fan Club a good example? Probably. Yeah, probably. They just have a lot of
like him. As soon as Baines went bad, everyone turned on that.
Everyone turned on him. I feel bad. I feel bad.
Like, it's not his fault. Aaron Baines started playing like shit.
Yeah, because it was real fun when it was good, right? So, and it's been really fun just with this season with Detroit. Like, the people who actually pay attention to us, like, oh, Detroit winning what, like 20 games, are not that bad. We're not that bad.
I also consistently fought with good teams, and they would
or beat them, by the way. Yeah,
like good at beating bad teams or competing with them.
It's been really fun. And like Sadiq's going to get first team. Isaiah, he'll get second team at the very least, but there's a case to be made. Yeah, there's a case to be made that they could both be first. Sadiq undoubtedly will be. But Isaiah, we're going to have 2 all rookies this year. I mean, that's a great start. Plus Cade's coming next year. Manifest it, right? So I'm excited.
I'm sorry, it's a Chicago Bull.
Whatever, man. Y'all are both homers. And this is a good opportunity to segue into one of our viewer questions or listener questions, whatever.
I was thinking there was a question about stan culture.
That's why I brought it up. I was going to,
Okay. I actually did not highlight that one, but, shout out to whoever asked that question. But at @number_LMAO asked, what's your favorite average role player, like a Rodney Magruder type? This is like right in the same wheelhouse of what we're talking about right now. For me, I'm going to say my favorite below average role player is Brandon Clark, just because he's been ass this year. But like,
I almost cut off Mojo and said, speaking of missing floaters.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I mean, Brandon Clark has like incredible offensive potential just based on his rookie year. Maybe it was just like in Fuego season that's entirely unsustainable. But like one thing that people don't really talk about is Brandon Clark's defense. Even though he's 6'8" with a 6'8" wingspan, he can play the 5 and protect the paint on an average level at the very least. But like typically he's pretty good at it. We were talking about like how we watch the game earlier. And for me, I watch it like a fan most of the time. I've watched so few games this season that aren't Grizzlies games because it just doesn't give me the same emotional response. You know, I'm not like Jacob where I have like post-game analysis to make every night or whatever. So for me, it's all about the entertainment value.
Like a chore.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, it is, and it isn't, right?
Every once in a while. Yeah. But I don't always want to watch Pistons versus Thunder, but you know, you power through.
Yeah. And you talk about like watching defensive rotations. That's something that I pay a lot of attention to, especially. That's why like I don't enjoy watching Jonas Valanciunas as much as like the average fan because like defensively he can't fucking move and I just see it constantly. And that's why I prefer like a Brandon Clark or a Jaren Jackson protecting the paint. Not so much like a rookie like Xavier Tillman Sr., but like, you know, a good defensive rotation is definitely one of my favorite things
I have to appreciate the irony of being a rookie and having senior in your name.
Yeah, that's pretty rich. So yeah, who are y'all's favorite below average role players?
Garrett Temple, picking a guy from my team again.
Yeah,
I haven't heard.
Not as great the second half of the season, but the start of the season he was shooting 40% from 3 and like 70% at the basket. And going to the rim consistently. It's like, why is 35-year-old Garrett Temple having the best season of his career? Yeah. And then he fell back down to earth. Yeah. He got injured for a while, which kind of slowed things down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Motown All-Star roster right now, and I'm just trying to pick. I think Harry Giles might be it. And you want to talk about Brandon Clark, which, by the way, NBA draft Twitter sweetheart, Brandon Clark. That was like the most hipster thing. Like if you cared about the draft, you wanted Brandon Clark on your team. That's how you knew somebody cared. Yeah, that's how you knew somebody cared.
One of my my NBA friends is the host of the Fast Break Breakfast podcast, Keith Parrish. And when we were at the draft party, not the draft lottery party, the actual draft party in Nashville, he got the inside scoop from Twitter, like a pick or two early from what was actually on the broadcast that we were making the trade and getting Brandon Clark, and he lost his fucking mind and started like yelling and screaming, running laps around the bar or whatever, strictly because like his one like NBA draft friend was pretty much like as hip as it gets, and Keith is a huge NBA hipster, so it was a perfect storm, and he just knew that Brandon Clark was like the guy to get in this draft at like a value position like 2021. Yeah, and so that was hype for sure.
NBA hipster is a term I have not heard before, and I think it perfectly describes Rudy.
oh yeah, you don't know about NBA hipster culture? Get out of here.
Never heard that before.
My mind is so lost right now. What was the original question? I have my answer. I just can't think of the question.
Yeah, your favorite below average role player.
Ooh, below average.
Yeah, I think it said average, didn't it? Like, it's okay in 20 minutes.
No, it says favorite below average role player, like Rodney Magruder.
Why you gotta take shots at Rodney Magruder?
Yeah, but actually, me on the show.
But actually, I was gonna say something mean about Rodney Magruder, but you're
go ahead.
You can say I don't.
I was gonna say, are we sure Rodney Magruder is even below average?
Oh shit, Payne.
Who would you say though, Mojo?
Cameron Payne.
Oh, Cameron.
I just thought about that.
No, Payne,
he's not below average though.
He's probably average now.
He's average. He's
now,
very average.
Sure.
Yeah. On average, he's below average.
I'm looking at the roster, and I think Harry Giles might be the pick. I'm looking at other guys. Is Dwight Powell? Can I say him? Because he has nights where he's the guy who's
kind of ass, ain't he? So
well,
he's had games where he's really good and games where he's really bad.
It doesn't make sense. It is inconceivable how sometimes he is as bad as he is. He's 6'10", will play 33 minutes and won't get a rebound. I mean, it's insane. I have Nico Melli on here. Probably safe to say he's not very good. Naz Reid, but he's good, so I'm not saying him. And then actually, Jacob, you know what? I might say this just for you. I might go with Hutch. Chandler Hutchison.
Is Hutch a forward or a big? I've always been kind of puzzled.
The answer is yes.
He's pretty much best as a small ball forward.
Yeah.
Hutch is like for a while with him being in Chicago, it's like, this is my pet project. This is the guy that I appreciate for having little abilities that could be expanded upon, but no one's actually gonna do it with him.
Yeah.
He is very good in transition because he's really athletic, and he actually in the full court, not half court, he has playmaking ability. Yes. He'll take the ball off the dribble up the court and make a nice pass. And he's pretty all right defensively because he has size and athleticism.
He's quick. He's quick on the
His jump shot's not good. No. Some nights it drops, but most nights it doesn't. But like I watch him and I'm like, this could be like Jay Crowder who gets like 4 assists a game.
Sure.
But no one's really going to give him that opportunity, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, he has a little bit of bounce, too. Around the rim, he can be a little bit crafty. Yeah,
he had his career high game like 2 games into being a Wizard. And then he tweeted like one man's trash. I remember that. Shots at the Bulls, and then he just stopped. He just got a bunch of DNPs after that.
Yeah, it was funny because I remember when that happened, and it was like 2 weeks later. I was like, because it may shock you, I don't check in on the Wizards. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder how he's been doing. So I go to his game log, and I'm like, oh, so you haven't done anything. Gotcha. So that was it.
That one game was almost all backdoor cuts assisted by Russell Westbrook.
All he does. All he does.
Good at the backdoor cut, and he can sometimes hit a spot up 3. And gets buckets in transition. It's
like he played a game against the Thunder in the preseason. I think he ended up with like 4 steals. He hit some really tough shots, and he hit in transition, like you mentioned. He's just really quick, and he's one of those guys where his verticality and his length, you'd think that there's something there, but whatever untapped potential it is beyond me. So because of that, Chandler Hutchison is my pick for my favorite not great player in the entire league.
Yeah, what's funny about him is because Stacey King says a lot of dumb things sometimes, but he's entertaining, so we let it go.
Is he?
He's pretty entertaining, at least during highlight plays at the very least.
Oh, I agree with that, actually. Yes, I agree with that.
He used to call anytime Hutch would get like a transition layup or dunk or a pass like that was nifty, he'd always call him Scottie Pippen or Scottie Pippen Jr., which is funny because I'm pretty sure Scottie Pippen has a son called Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, he's hooping too.
Yeah, but Hutch, like, they have similar body types. I guess they have similar skin tones, so that is fair. And if you blink or if you have your eyes squinted, like with his length and like the way he moves, I guess. Yeah. But let's not compare a guy who plays 8 minutes a game to Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, the 12th greatest player of all time.
Oh my God.
Shut the fuck
up. This is sort of in the same realm of what we're talking about, and also what you asked earlier about like your favorite players who are out of the league now, just like didn't get the shot. For me, that would be Arnett Moultrie. I've talked about him once on the show before, but like,
I don't know who that is.
Exactly. He was like the 20th pick in the draft, like a year before the process started. Let me see. Let me verify. 27th pick in the draft, 1 year before the process started. So he had one season on like a legitimately trying team. He played in 47 games, only got 11 minutes a game. And then when the process started, he was actually just sort of like trying to think of a word, but like he just was a victim of the process, you know, as opposed to like a Jeremy Grant or a Tony Roten as like a guy who actually benefited from it.
Well,
he got way more NBA minutes than he probably ever should have.
Well, I would, like, if you're pointing to Jeremy Grant as an example, he got a career that stemmed from that.
Right. Hey, man, Tony Roten had a career too, but this guy was only in the league for 59 games. You know, he played 12 games during the 2013-14 season for the Sixers and some G League time. Coming out of the draft, I liked him a lot because he was one of those guys who was like getting Lamar Odom comparisons because he was like a 6'10", 6'11" positionless player.
Anybody who gets a Lamar Odom comparison, I'm on board.
Right, exactly. You know, it was someone to really get behind. And when he went so late in the draft, I found that odd, but I guess it makes sense because he didn't really get the opportunity. But apparently now he's 30 years old and tearing it up in China. He's having a career year. He's averaging 36 minutes a game, 57% from the floor and 30% from three. With 26 points a game and 13 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 2.7 stocks. So, I mean, put him in the NBA, man. Yeah, you know, steals and blocks, stocks.
Yeah.
That's some NBA hipster shit right there.
See, there you go. Now you're getting.
I never heard that either.
Really? I thought that Rudy. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I thought
Jacob, you were right the entire time.
This is why I assumed you two followed each other. This is just...
He said I thought we
Nicolas
just said
that.
The pod. He was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, I literally said that, assuming Rudy would be like, "Cool."
Yeah,
but Arnett Moultrie is my guy, man. I wish he was in the NBA today. He probably deserves a shot on a bad team, you know, but he's 30, so he would probably get no more than like B-ball.
Tim
Paul
Tebow's
minutes.
ass just got a job in Jacksonville.
That shit's like white privilege or something, you know. That's nonsense.
100%.
It's just because Urban Meyer's there. But I mean,
100%.
I'm like the one person on earth who likes Tim Tebow apparently, but like I was a Broncos fan, and when we traded him to the Jets or whatever, that was magical, man. I was there the whole season watching every game. That was the last year I cared about football, and then we got rid of Tebow for Peyton Manning, and everyone was like, you know, this is the one guy that would have gotten rid of Tebow for. I was like, I don't fucking care. I wanted to see more fucking QB powers, know, give a unique offense to the NFL, but no.
Yeah, good time to abandon your NFL team when Peyton Manning shows up.
And then you win a goddamn Super Bowl like 4 years later.
Yeah, because it's Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I just didn't care. We played in like the most boring Super Bowl of all time when we got like blown the fuck out with the Seahawks. I watched that game and was like, I feel no emotion here. I'm officially done. I don't care. But kind of transitioning away from that, no segue, just, you know, straight blunt cutoff.
Let's stop with the basketball question. This is too much basketball.
Well, I don't know, man. I enjoy the basketball content. I don't want to get into like the weird homophobic shit that comes up in our 48 replies. To our,
I was like,
it shows, bro.
All the ones that are like, would you suck a dick for $1?
It's like, you don't know me. I might do it for free. Fuck you. But
here's one. I was thinking about this. I was asking people at work this earlier today. I was like, what's a historical event that you refuse to believe actually happened? Not that you deny that it did, but you refuse to believe it.
Wilt dropping 100.
Well, you said you don't want to talk basketball. You said you don't want to talk about basketball.
What if I was just like the Holocaust?
Be like, all right,
that was most people's answer.
For you.
Again, not that you don't believe that it happened, but you just can't comprehend that. Like, So what I said was, I was like, I refuse to believe the Trojan horse thing. That the Romans.
Yeah, that sounds like a fucking bedtime story.
They're just like, wow. This gift, wow, impressed. And all these motherfuckers were just dead silent in there for like 12 hours until it was nighttime. Nobody sneezed, nobody fucking coughed, nobody like moved a little bit in the wood creek.
Nobody chuckled because that shit's hilarious.
Nobody tickled each other. Like, what the hell's going on?
These fuckers don't realize we're in this horse.
Yeah. I got a pretty good one. I heard this on a weird history podcast I was listening to with my friend when we were on our way to I believe St. Louis to see fish. But basically, I don't remember the entire historical context, but there was this I'll just say like a tyrant, and she was going across the land, taking over, pillaging, doing, you know, what tyrants do. And they come across this one major city, and they couldn't quite take it over with the power that they had, you know, their little mini army of followers or whatever, but they're persistent enough to still be a threat. And what she did was say, okay, I'll lay off you guys on one condition. you have to give me all of your birds. This was when like domesticated birds was like very common. And they're like, oh, fuck yeah. Get rid of this tyrant at the expense of our pet birds. Hell yeah. We'll take that deal every time. So what she did was
chicken.
Yeah.
Speaking of birds,
let's go tell his dog to hush. I'll wait for him to put his headphones back in. It's okay. I don't want him to miss out. Anyway, so she receives the birds and instructs her army of followers to then tie kindling to their legs, like you do with like a carrying pigeon or something similar to that, and to ignite them and send it on its way. And so these birds being domesticated naturally flew home. And so in a matter of minutes, this entire city, I guess we'll call it, was in flames because they all gave away their birds to a tyrant who then lit their pet birds on fire and sent them back home.
That's so fucking sadistic.
Right. It's unbelievable, but at the same time, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, like animal cruelty, not funny, but in the context of, 1,000 years ago or whatever, I don't care about these dead pigeons.
I don't remember if it's Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar. I don't know why I always confuse those two.
That is interesting.
But I think they were both kind of bald. So I think so. You're shaking your head. I'm okay. One of them is. What they built, this guy was going into battle and he had like a bunch of his enemies pinned down in a village. And his solution was, instead of fighting these people, I'm going to build a wall around the entire city and just starve them out. And I think in the middle of the night, one of those people that was trapped in the city snuck out, managed to sneak through and brought reinforcements. And his solution was to build another wall around where they were. So they built 2 giant fucking walls, starved out these people, and had the other wall to keep out the reinforcements.
How do you build a wall that fast?
Apparently they did it.
Yeah. Well, so it worked
but that's like no fucking way you did that.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And a more sad note, what you're talking about with like the Holocaust being a common example, it is like it's hard to comprehend that amount of people just
that's what my thing was
dying. Like 600 million, is it something like that?
No, it's a mere 6 million.
6 million. I don't know why I got 600. That's fucking a lot.
I think it's like into upwards of 10 million when you include all the non-Jews also incorporated.
Yeah.
Into the Holocaust.
Well, I know there's a museum that exists that's
there's a few.
Well, yeah, but it's like focused and putting it in perspective. I don't mean like there's one Holocaust museum, but it's a lit candle in a dark room with a bunch of mirrors all around, put in strategic places to where the candle will reflect like over and over and over again, to where basically the entire room looks like a night sky, and every reflection represents a child that was killed in the Holocaust. And there's like hundreds of thousands of them.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's a fun topic.
Yeah. I just think it's insane because that was a time where bad things actually happened to white people. So it's like, well, I'm kidding, but I'm actually not, because it's like, if this can happen to white people, like imagine now, obviously there have been, I don't want to be comparative, but if shit like this can happen to white people, then like black people were killed then too. Like obviously it was primarily Jewish people, but like even black people in Germany, like that was handicapped people, like it didn't matter. And my biggest thing was like, I don't mean to make this a whole, maybe Rudy, ask a different question. Let's get off of this. Let's not talk.
You don't want to talk about genocide some more, man?
Let's talk about Israel and Palestine. Let's transition to that real quick.
Give me your hot take about genocide.
Hot take. The Holocaust is overrated.
Yeah. I went in Michigan and when I was in middle school, we went on a field trip to the Holocaust Museum.
I met a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, me too. My great uncle.
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
I have a photo with him, and it's like, why did we all take selfies with the Holocaust survivor?
Just got he's doing the ice in my veins, but it's his I'm allowed to make these jokes.
The whole class. Rudy's Jewish. The whole.
Oh, that's fine. All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm greenlighting this whole conversation.
The whole class took a photo with them, and in hindsight, I'm like, "What? That's kind of odd."
Look at this novelty.
Come in as like a guest speaker, or like what?
Yeah, we heard him talk about his entire family being killed, and it's like,
he's just swinging by.
Let's take a photo.
Yeah.
Probably fucking tours doing that shit, which is fine and good. You know, people deserve to know, you know, the harms that are done. I would like to see that shit done for like the native people, though, you know, like indigenous Americans, because I mean,
but
again, not to be comparative, like you said, Nicholas, but like
American history is not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we genocided upwards of 100 million Native American people. Like that's there's so much more than 6 million. It's pretty hard to wrap our head around, but it's all evil. Genocide is universally bad. I think we can all agree on that.
Hot take.
Right. Don't genocide.
Although I did have this thought, and this is only me and Nicholas will know about this because I don't think you guys played the game. But in Days Gone, when what's his fucking name? Deacon St. John just kills all of the scars, almost all of them. It's like, so the game was like genocide is good, basically. Like technically,
Thanos shit.
Like they made the scars so irredeemable that it was like, well, I mean, it kind of.
Are you talking about the Rippers?
Rippers, yeah. I'm thinking of scars from the fucking Last of Us
the
Part 2.
Lion King or something?
No, The Last of Us Part 2. A different apocalypse cult that cuts themselves. But the Rippers, like, they made them so irredeemably mad and insane that it's almost like, well, I mean, was it actually good to kill all of these people? I mean, it kind of was, but they just they made it just so black and white that it was like pro-genocide in a way.
Well, the moral justifications of that game can be held in question, but it's almost like saying, should the American forces have killed all of the Nazis? Maybe not all of them. Like, no, you probably should have fucking killed all of them. That's the point I'm making,
is that no case of genocide is really that black and white, but they make it out that way.
I just want to say I'm really worried that someone's going to screen record me saying, should the United States forces have killed all the Nazis? Probably not.
Yeah, there's a whole podcast.
There's
that has happened.
There.
That has happened a couple of times. So I was making fun of how conspiracies always roll back to blaming the Jews. So I just said, and this is why it's the Jews' fault. And someone took that clip out of context, and they might do it again.
Right, I was about to say, you're setting yourself up.
Just to make it sound like it's something I say routinely. So like, here's the first time I said it. Here's the second time I said it. Yeah. But yeah, that happens quite a bit on this. Also, in that game, there's just straight up slavery, and they're like, "This is a moral gray area." No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's slavery.
And
you're supposed to be allies with this Tucker bitch who has slaves, and it's like, I don't want to work with this lady.
The reason that you kind of rationalize it, we'll move off of this in a second, because I know you guys didn't play the game. I don't want to, for anybody who's listening, they didn't play the game, I don't want to bore people and alienate them. But I'll say this. They make you believe that she's the good guy because you're coming from a camp that was led by this super right-wing conservative, like Trumpy.
Yeah,
and so now you go to this.
If Alex Jones ran a survival camp,
like no meme,
which is actually kind of entertaining. I kind of like that idea.
Except when you're just riding, you're cruising on your shit. This is Radio Free Oregon. Skip. No fucking thank you. Skip. Turn that shit off. Anyways, Rudy, hit us. Give us another question.
All right. From Pizza Bagels, would you rather sweat honey or sneeze peanut butter?
Sweat honey. Honey is delicious.
You know how many girls would be licking honey off of you, Jacob?
Let's have steamy sex. You'll get a nice taste.
Imagine hooping though, and you just get all sticky.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I don't know about.
That's like I sneeze less often than I. Well, do I sneeze less?
Sneezing peanut butter
is it? I just fart. What the hell was that?
I don't know what that was.
Someone farted.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, the yellow ring around the screen on Zoom will reveal who it was.
It was me.
Okay. The fuck was I talking about?
I would sneeze peanut butter every time.
Make a sandwich. If you got a cold, you can just make a sandwich.
Yeah, I need to make a sandwich. Just put some.
Oh shit! I have coronavirus. I'm gonna be eating a lot of fucking PB&J. Whatever.
I got coronavirus to turn into a peanut butter factory.
my thing is like when I sneeze, I've had this habit my whole life, and I'm probably gonna fucking pop a blood vessel one day. But I'll like plug my sneezes, and so like
it's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, so I'll probably like get like a dose of peanut butter in the back of my throat every time I sneeze under this hypothetical, which is fine. I love peanut butter.
Oh god,
you're gonna JFK your shit if you fucking yeah.
Oh, I mean, you should try it. It feels great.
But I was gonna say, I guess it's the same volume. Do I, on average, sweat more than I sneeze in what comes out when I sneeze? That's the question. What liquid leaves my body at a higher volume on average? Sweat or
sweat, though? Maybe I'm just a sweaty dude, but like
I don't sweat that much. It's because it's fucking cold up here. So
but when I'm not feeling like a lazy piece of shit, I do work out most days, so I will sweat a decent amount. I have it's definitely sneezing because I sweat in my sleep a lot. And I don't want to wake up in a bunch of honey.
Oh yeah, changing your sheets every day.
Yeah, definitely going peanut butter in that.
Imagine the bug problems you would have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my thing too, it's in Atlanta.
I would just carry like a bucket around. I'm gonna sneeze into the bucket.
So are we all on the peanut butter train at this point?
Yeah, I'm peanut butter. But one of the main reasons why I'm peanut butter is because I sweat a lot. It's Atlanta hot as hell, and every time I get out of my car, I have this real bad sweating problem. Yeah, that too. And every time I get out of my car, my back is like drenched, sweating.
Yeah. I hated driving in Atlanta in summer in a black car.
Yeah, bro. My car is tan. It's just so ass. It's so ass.
Yeah. All right. So we're all on the peanut butter train. Another Pizza Bagels question was, has a movie/video game ever made you cry? And like, yeah, I cry all the time. I'll cry at like most movies, honestly.
Are you a sociopath or not? That's the question.
Yeah.
Or how caught up in toxic masculine culture
are you afraid
I will never cry?
I think the question is a video game because we've all cried at a movie, but I think a video game is a more interesting question because I don't think it's insane.
The Last of Us 1 makes me cry with the intro every single time. When I first played The Last of Us the first time, it didn't, because I didn't really know Joel at that point, but playing it a second time, the impact his daughter's death, spoiler. Yeah. The impact.
Yeah, you just ruined someone's day.
8 years at this point. I would imagine anybody who's wanted to play the game. Yeah.
But knowing the context of it and knowing Joel, it makes it very sad the second time. Because even though it's like, this sounds heartless, when you don't know the character, just seeing a dad lose his daughter, it's sad, but I'm not going to cry about it. Yeah. And also for movies, also The Last of Us 2 made me cry of anger quite often. But for movies, Inside Out wrecks me every single time. No pepper.
Dude, I was a mess.
We talked about this like 5 different times on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, Inside Out's a fantastic movie. I don't think I've revisited it since I saw it in theaters. But
I'm eventually going to make a video essay about it because I think it's the best or most important Pixar movie, and it's not given proper credit.
What's the thumbs down for?
Wall-E.
Oh yeah. So
I think the reason why I haven't cried through any movies or video games is because I simply don't participate in either too enough.
Bitch, too afraid to cry. Well, you little pussy, you can't cry.
Just reverse toxic masculinity
right now.
This little pussy ass bitch afraid to
Let's
cry.
make Mojo cry by the end of the podcast.
Let's just relentlessly bully him until he says
Nah, bro, the last time I cried, I ain't gonna lie, it may be back in like February when my girlfriend left for back to school. That's the last
that's sweet. That's really sweet. Last time I cried was when I ran over a squirrel on my way to the YMCA.
All right, come out. No animal stuff. I will cry.
Last time I cried, my dog died.
Well, that's different. That happens. I'm just talking about if you if you hit an animal. I don't want. Well, dogs Dude, pass away. Yeah,
I immediately went into hysterics. Like it went from to just like like crying.
I've never ran over a squirrel. I ran over an already dead squirrel. and it got caked to the bottom of my tire.
No, thank you.
So I had to drive
had to drive real fast.
No. I had to drive like 2 inches or like 6 inches so that the tire would flip over because it was face down on the pavement. And I just got a hose and sprayed it off.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Little chunks of squirrel.
All right, for Christ's sake.
Let's get back to basketball. Apparently non-basketball is dangerous.
We talked about the Holocaust and dead animals. What's going on here? Get back to basketball.
Yeah. All right. This is relevant to what we were talking about earlier. I wanted to bring it up then, but I never had the opportunity. Also, I forgot to do like the routine plugging of the Twitter when segueing into the questions. We had 48 responses on this week's tweet asking for your questions. Follow us on Rusty Mojo Show on Twitter.
I like this question. Would you do cocaine if it was decriminalized?
Yeah, of course. Why not? If it was regulated, for sure.
Well, I mean,
I have some bad news for that person.
Right?
Well, I don't want to say it on the show. Never mind.
That depends on the state.
Right.
Well, no.
Portland that decriminalized all.
Yeah, Oregon.
Portland's not a state, brother.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, shut up. I associated with Portland because of the fucking Trailblazers. So there you go. Yeah, but I realized Portland is not a state. It's Oregon. I'm not 5.
Right, but anyway, JTab Sports on Twitter asked. This is kind of more directed at Mojo and Nick, but how do you feel about people putting Jalen Green over Evan Mobley, especially Pistons fans?
Dude, yesterday we got in locker room and he was yelling at me because he was mad at other people about draft picks.
Really?
I was like, how's your day? Fuck
ahead.
You. Some asshole on Twitter.
Like, nah, I don't even want to go first because this man's gonna be like, you're just screaming at me.
No. I'm not gonna do. I'm not in that zone today. Go ahead.
Not today. This man had his lemon pepper wings to cool him down, luckily. So for me, I personally have I would take Evan Mobley over Jalen Green, but I won't be mad at you for wanting or putting Jalen Green over him because in the league, obviously, it's guard oriented and Evan Mobley has guard skills as a big. So that's why I just naturally lean towards him. But I'm not mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at anyone for taking him because of the skill set that he has and how much potential that he has when it comes to that, all the athleticism, the ball handling, it's getting better, a lot better. He's a good shooter, all that great stuff. But personally, I just want to bet my money on Evan Mobley coming through and being one of the next great bigs rather than Jalen Green being there. I just think I just like Mobley better, just personally.
There's not a lot that I have to add to that because I 100% agree with you. What I said to Jacob yesterday, what was making me so mad, I'm not mad at you if you pick Jalen Green over Evan Mobley because I do think that there's a case that can be made for it. Anybody inside of this top 3, you're good. I promise you, you're fine. If it's Jalen Green, if it's Mobley, obviously if it's Cade, brother, I promise you, you're happy. What bothers me is when people... The what?
Did you say it was like something about how trivial it is?
It's the incessant and inherent need to, if I'm propping up Jalen Green, I have to diminish what Evan Mobley is, or vice versa. No. These two guys can coexist. I would argue for Detroit that Jalen Green is probably a better fit. I think he's the truest fit in this class for Detroit.
Yeah, that's super true.
Arguably 100%.
He has
I want Evan Mobley.
Yeah. That's super true to say, especially like the excitement factor and the attention. Jalen Green's the most clouded player in this class. Either him or Suggs. It's really close. And obviously Suggs is a fit as well as Jalen Green. He just has everything that you'd want as a Pistons fan. But he's the sexier option, sexier choice. So I totally agree with that.
I think it's a lot easier for people to put stock into a guard who can average 30 a game than it is a big who's a little bit on the skinnier side. He's built like Nick Claxton, not like Clint Capella, right? But when you said it's a big who has guard skills, you're 100% right. He's like all the best things about the collegiate versions of Kevin Durant, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Anthony Davis. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy has blocked so many shots this season before he's even left the ground and the ball is out of the shooter's hand, and he will still find a way to block it. He doesn't have the quickest second jump, but the length, that the wingspan that he has, the dude will get multiple blocks inside of a single possession like it's nothing. Like he was running 2-man stuff with his brother, and it was crazy. an Evan Mobley, Isaiah Stewart pick and roll would probably be the end of me. I would never have to watch basketball ever again because nothing, and I mean nothing, because either of them can pop. Right. I guess I don't want Isaiah handling, right? Like Evan has proven that he can handle in a pick and roll. Isaiah, I don't want him to. I want him to shoot threes. I want him to spot up. I don't want Isaiah Stewart running a pick and roll from 27 feet out. But
sky's the limit. Let him do it.
It's wild. It's crazy, man. On draft night, I said about Isaiah Stewart, I go, you're getting a traditional big who's a bully around the rim.
And he still has that.
Oh, he does, but that's not all he is.
But the threes have been going in, and I think 100%. That's what triggered you. Is I said that, and you were like, "They've always been going in."
What triggered me is that you took credit for it because I was
joking about that.
You were, and I knew that you were, and I was mad. I don't know what it was. I can't explain it to you, but in that moment, I was like, fuck this guy. I was like, no, I don't have time for this. It also doesn't help that every time I join one of your rooms, there's 50 people on stage and everybody's talking at the same time. And I'm just like,
anarchy. Not the good kind.
Let's cut some fat here. Let's
stop inviting so many people up.
Let's do five, and then let's see where it goes from there.
Well, the problem is specifically the hot takes ones. I need multiple different takes, and I can't have 3 people giving their takes the whole way through.
Sure.
I guess.
Well, I mean, that's what the comments are for.
Do it. That's probably the right way to do it. But
if there's one hot enough, you can invite them up.
I don't know. I view it as just like. I'm clocking in and clocking out.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, and then there's if you rely on the chat, the whole thing. Rusty, beam me up.
Yes.
Beam me up. Shut the fuck up. It's the most annoying shit.
Also, half the time I'm like playing 2K or something, so I can't look at the chat all the time.
Yeah. Or you'll get mad at me. You're like, Nick, why are you saying things in the chat? You're on stage. I'm like, because if I try to talk, these motherfuckers are
I literally tell all of them to shut up because I'm more interested in what you have to say than any of them.
But just to circle back, there's an equal case for any team in the top 3. Because I think at this point it's been well established that Suggs is probably going to go 4, and in some order 2 and 3 will be Mobley and Jalen Green. The guy Jalen Green has so much in his bag offensively that as a cutter, one of the things I'll say about Mobley that I think is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life, point blank period, the catch radius that he has on lobs is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. And with a guy like Killian,
yes, I know.
I'm worried we're never going to lose again if we get Evan Mobley. I don't know if we can ever lose again. I don't want to get complacent with going 82-0 every year, but it might happen. But it's a win either way as long as we're in that top 3.
So I just want to get into the weeds a little bit about one of the details that y'all brought up during this conversation. So when you talk about having guard skills as a big, I'm assuming based on what you said about being able to run the pick and roll, that you mean that in like a very modern context and not in like Anthony Davis grew up a guard and then turned into a big, meaning like having guard skills as a big 5 years ago just meant you could dribble and shoot. Now having guard skills means a little bit more. So is that more like what you're talking about with Evan Mobley?
He's tight. He's very tight. He's very concise, and he's very decisive on his passes. Like he can pass out of a pick and roll 100%. His handles are when I say comparatively, like Texas Kevin Durant, that's where Mobley is right now, I think, with his handle. Like when you watch a 7-footer like this move the way that he does with or without the basketball, I get what you're asking. And it is an important distinction to make, that this isn't a guy who can just kind of dribble. Like he is a decisive ass ball handler, and his passing could be better, but it is unlike anything I have personally seen in like the last 10 years of me caring about draft prospects. I am enamored with him, and nobody has me in mental prison the way that Mobley does every time I watch him.
I don't know anything about Jalen Green. I know a good amount about Mobley and Cade, and both of those guys sound like generational talents potentially.
100%.
I swear to God, if the Bulls get the number 1 pick, I will orgasm for a week. It's like
just nonstop, 24/7.
If the Bulls drafted Cade Cunningham, all of their problems are gone.
What are you doing with Kobe? I know you want to trade him, but where do you want to trade him?
somewhere else.
CBA.
Something. I don't care. I just don't want him on the team anymore. I mean, I understand that's not going to happen. He's been playing good lately, so I have to give him that credit. But also what's funny is the Kobe White stan, and he keeps hitting me up like, Kobe's having a good game. Why aren't you saying anything? I haven't watched a Bulls game in like 3 weeks. So I haven't watched him play good. Sorry. And I'm not going to watch a fucking Bulls game.
You know how dumb I am when the Vucevic trade happened? A real thing I said to myself.
Oh, no.
I'm standing on the train platform. I'm going to work, and the Shams notification I see on Twitter that the Bulls trade for Vucevic. I go, wow, Hoiberg's going to love that, playing 5 out. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, no. He's not the coach anymore. It's Billy Donovan. And then I was like, wait, then Jim Boylan. I was like, Fred Hoiberg was like 6 years ago. What the hell am I talking about?
Fred Hoiberg got fired in 2017, 2018.
Okay, so it wasn't quite 6 years ago. I didn't realize Boylan was ago. I thought Boylan was there for longer.
He was there for the first year and a half of the rebuild, and then Boylan got hired midway through and immediately caused a mutiny.
Yes.
So good start.
Wasn't Hoiberg just like a Garpax favorite?
Hoiberg was story? Like a guy who had some passable X's and O's and had absolutely zero command of the locker room.
Yeah. No, like most college coaches, including but not limited to Brad Stevens,
and respected him. So that was his downfall. I want to ask this question from the group. It's not even the guy says it's not a question. I want Nick to talk about this magical story with the cat.
Oh, get in your back.
I've been tracking this all over Twitter.
See, I don't know what he's talking about. I wanted to bring it up.
I have no idea either. I heard her.
Yeah.
I
have to leave at 9, so we're wrapping it up with that.
I was belligerent. I was probably like 9 or 10 deep. And as somebody who doesn't drink, 1 is too many for me. Okay. And I go outside. It's probably about 11 o'clock at night. And I see this silhouette, and it's a cat. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I'm a simple man. I see a cat, and I go down to the ground, and I make cat noises. And I'm like, come here. Like, let's be friends. And he walks up to me immediately. He's a real small guy. And I'm like, are you free? What the hell's going on? He's immediately purring. I'm, just doing cat stuff. And after about 15 minutes of playing with him, just vibes, just cat stuff.
I'm not a cat guy, so I don't know what cat stuff means.
I am. Yeah. So just patting him and stuff, being silly.
I'm allergic, so I can't afford to be a cat guy. You asking me? My bad, having an allergy.
After 15 minutes, it starts to rain, and he runs away, right? And I can't stop thinking about this cat. So it's about 2 hours later, and I go back outside to find him. Again, I'm at this point. I've had like 15. I'm about to black out.
You're trying to kill yourself.
And I open the door. Pumped? The second I open the door, he sprints around it. Look at cat. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Rudy. The second I open the door, he sprints around a corner and
you can find a photo of Nick and the cat on his Twitter to put.
It is on my Twitter. He sprints around a corner and we're like saying what's up. We dap. It's great. And I realize on his collar, there's a phone number. And I'm like, I should probably text this number and make sure that he's not lost, like be responsible. And so I text the number. I send them a picture of him. And I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Just want to check in, make sure that little Sinbad here, that's his name. It's on the name tag on his collar. That's great name for a cat. There's Sinbad. I just want to make sure he's not lost and he's okay. And then I see he actually has a tag that says Sinbad outdoor cat. So I go, okay, I text them. Sorry, I should have read a little bit more, whatever. So I'm like, shoot, I can't keep you. Finally, after like 20 minutes, I let him go away. And about 2 weeks goes by and I'm outside every night trying to find him. And finally, I'm walking home from work one day and I'm walking down the alley and he like starts to cross and he looks up at me and we lock eyes. And he literally sprints over to me and is like purring. And I'm like, the LeBron meme, like, I can't believe this is my life. Like I found him. We're back. We hang out and do one of those and it's great. And, it was awesome. And then a few days later, it was like a week later, I found him again. I was literally just standing outside and I was on my phone and I felt something brush up against my leg. And I jumped and I looked down and he's looking up at me and like rubbing on me and purring. And I'm like, you know that I'm your dad? Like, you just found me? Like, I didn't even know that you were there. And, we hung out. I found a little stick and I was playing with it. And we were, he's purring and I'm holding him like a baby and, scratching his belly. And that's Sinbad. And he's my outdoor cat. Maybe I'll go outside and find him when we're wrapping up here.
We needed this wholesome story after talking about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Dead animals.
Yeah.
I did want to squeeze in one obligatory a key question because we managed to not do that this time. I want to keep a key. I
love acting stand. Like I hate him.
It's a solid bit. As long as it doesn't.
I'm telling you,
he's such a big fan of me that like the idea of me being the Hollywood asshole that hates someone who's a fan of him.
You need to go ahead and tweet that man Kobe White stats today. Go ahead and do that.
No,
just a little get back.
That's not a good tweet. I strictly good tweets from me. Never any bad tweets. Never once in my life have I tweeted something that didn't age well and was kind of cringy.
But this one's kind of directed at Nick. He just says, what are your realistic hopes for the Pistons? Which, I know you said if you get Evan, then it's game over. You'll never lose again. But realistically, I mean,
no, I know. Yeah.
I feel like for me, my take on the question is sort of like, do you want to build this thing from the ground up, or do you want to like collect assets and then use them to garner a superstar somehow, some way, or something like that?
It's a tough question because Troy Weaver has done, it has been a masterclass of a rebuild so far for Detroit. We're competitive in our losses. We're obviously competitive in our wins. We're big game hunters. Remember that Cabela's video game, Big Game Hunters? That's Detroit. That's what we are. We get up for these games. In the meantime, we've had two of the best rookies in basketball this season, arguably two top 5 rookies, but at the very least, 2 top 10 rookies. Jeremy Grant, I don't need to say this. You guys are friends with Jacob. He's probably done his Jeremy Grant thing a million times. A guy who is a most improved candidate. He won't win, but he was a most improved candidate this year.
Julius Randle.
I know I've said this 100 times. Julius Randle's going to win at this point.
Right. Julius Randle, fucking Grant, and then slow-mo in that order.
Thank you for not saying Christian Wood, because we would have ended this.
I was going to say Christian Wood, but a good thing I didn't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Here, wait, one second. Go ahead. I'll be back in a second.
Okay. It's in terms of playing the long game, it's very clear that Dwayne Casey thinks we're going to take a sizable step next season, and then a huge step after that were his words. So I'm hoping that within 4 to 5 years we are a legitimate team. Now, the means with which we get there is a tricky thing to navigate, because we're learning that Troy Weaver has these relationships with certain players that we didn't actually know that he.
That's what that was. They put it on.
Get out of here.
Little fashion show for us.
Yeah. He's gonna leave it on. Great. Keep it on. Fuck it. Why not? Anyways, he's got a lot of relationships with guys. He really likes guys that are from the DMV, that area. You know who's a free agent this season and is from the DMV? Josh Hart. Josh Hart getting the mid-level in Detroit, the old Wendy's, the 4 for $40. What do you guys think? I don't know. Fuck around and find out.
Has Josh Hart ever moved the needle for any team?
I think a high energy.
I don't know what we're talking about.
One of the best rebounding guards in the league. Yes. Yeah, I want him on my basketball team. I get what you're saying though. Jeremy Grant is like so bought into this rebuild that it's almost suspicious. Like, it's weird how dedicated he is. I don't believe it. He's done nothing to prove the opposite. So I don't know. It's weird that Detroit is finally in this position. You talk about sort of creating this pot of assets and saying, here's the pot, right? Like an Anthony Davis type trade where you have all these young pieces and see what we can, throw it out there, see what we can get. I don't want to do that with Killian. I don't want to do that with Sadiq. I don't want to do that with Isaiah to go get like an Anthony Davis. I know how stupid that sounds, but it feels so good for Detroit to actually be navigating a rebuild in a way as flawlessly as they are. Thus far,
getting a rebuild instead of being like Andre Drummond. That's our franchise
like 100%. All jokes aside, like you're exactly right, and it's nice to have a direction. It's nice to feel confident. Building from the ground up, like we already have a really strong foundation, and Troy Weaver has an eye for talent that we haven't seen in Detroit since fucking Jack McCloskey, right? Like in the 80s. I'm talking like drafting Isaiah Thomas and trading for Bill Laimbeer and drafting John Sally, Dumars, all these guys. We haven't seen this in 40 fucking years in Detroit. So it feels great, man. And again, the means with which we get there is kind of up in the air. It's really hard to tell with a guy like Troy Weaver who's running and gunning. We have one guy on this roster who was here a year ago, and that's Sekou. Everyone else is different. So Crazy. What's the roster going to look like in 4 years? I have no idea. Chris Middleton comes back. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna get Dinwiddie back. I don't know.
By the way, I can go for a little bit longer because they just started a team up game right as I was about to get off.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's good. I mean, the thing for me is like I feel like the approach that you're talking about, like let's call it like the organic rebuild, is a lot more attractive. Not just because of its rarity, but because I believe personally that it's more effective. I think that. And I've talked about this probably a million times at this point, but I think the only reason that the superstar approach to building a championship team is the most tried and true method in the NBA as far as team building is because it's just the tradition. I think like the 04 Pistons model is a lot more achievable and a lot more admirable than just like, all right, we're going to trade for Anthony Davis while we have LeBron James and just out talent everybody. I think if you have a
those teams
balanced,
more special.
Yeah.
Like anytime a team does it organically, it feels more special.
Yeah.
Toronto was a weird blend. Was a weird blend of that.
Yeah. And Kawhi was like undeniably a conventional superstar, arguably the best player in the league that season. But like
a lot of people give Kawhi a little too much credit.
It's true. Yeah. Cause he had one of the best teams around him for sure. I mean, the DeRozan and Lowry teams, they just kept running into LeBron, which again is kind of the antithesis of what I'm talking about here. But like, there's other factors besides just LeBron James in this playoff series where I think that LeBron beat Toronto 10 games in a row in the playoffs or something like that. I would just strongly prefer to see a team where the pay scale across the top 8 to 10 guys or whatever is a lot closer to average for all of them rather than having a super top heavy build, just because it's probably a really good strategy if you can do it correctly.
I do feel like the 2013 or 2014 Spurs don't get mentioned enough when talking about teams like that. It's like they didn't have a superstar.
Yeah, they just had old man Tim Duncan.
Did they have an all-star even? I don't know if they did. I think maybe Tony Parker.
Maybe I feel like Manu probably got a ton of Thiago
Splitter.
I much more prefer
that was just a well-coached deep team.
Definitely agree with that. I much more prefer
with plenty of experience.
I much more prefer that way because when it comes that time to go ahead and go through that cycle and like rebuild again, you don't like crash and burn and you turn into complete shit and you're not irrelevant, like it happens gradually. It's just not like that. It's snap of a finger.
I used to have a mindset of like, if you're not getting a superstar, you're wasting your time. Yeah. Now I'm like, I think half of the time how a superstar is acquired is a team was already decent and then they go and get the guy that makes them great.
Yeah. It's like the Rockets before James Harden and Chris Paul. They were like a 41-41 team for like 5 fucking years.
I'm like, build a solid team with solid talent and then just go with the flow and hopefully your opportunity arises. Like I said for a while with the Bulls before they traded for Vucevic, and now I'm not sure what exactly the direction is long term, but I was just like, keep drafting hopefully well, not that they've done the best, and just build the team to be decent. I'm okay building a 5 seed roster that's like that for a while, and then you have solid assets and maybe you have a well-rounded team that's just waiting for somebody to come and fill that superstar role and take you all the way.
I mean, it's relativity, and the Lakers, as an example, are quite the anomaly because you have all these young guys. You have Josh Hart. Wow, he wins Summer League MVP. Wow, Lonzo Ball, Summer League fucking MVP. Kuzma. Wow, he's really good in the Summer League. What the hell's going on? We have these guys. Brandon Ingram, obviously. They had Zubats, which people fucking forget that the Lakers just gift wrapped.
Yeah, Zubats. I hate Magic Johnson so much for that, bro. I hate that.
Wild.
I haven't forgot.
I stirred some shit up with that one. Yeah, people clearly have not forgotten. But they have these young guys, these assets, and then LeBron falls into your lap. So I don't fault them for taking the Anthony Davis route, only because in a situation like that, it's about maximizing your championship window, even if it is just for 2 or 3 years, because you have LeBron James. What the hell else are you going to do? Obviously he's capable of taking the 2007 Cavs or the 2018 Cavs to the NBA Finals, but in the West, that's the same animal, but it's a different beast. So you can't be necessarily. Ooh, yeah, actually, I didn't even realize that's what I did. But shout out to Kobe and that Kanye commercial. My dad texted me about the speech that Vanessa gave. I forgot that was tonight. We were doing this, so we missed it. But I don't remember where I was going. Yeah, don't fault the Lakers because it's relative, but they didn't really have a choice, and I'm not going to blame them for maximizing their window, but Detroit's not in a situation where I would ever fucking want them to do that. So,
yeah, there was when Anthony Davis was still on the Pelicans, there were so many people like the Bulls should trade every player on the roster and like 3 picks and they'll get Anthony Davis. It's like, sure. Yeah. I'm sure the Pelicans would take that. But what the fuck are we going to do with Anthony Davis on a 1-year deal with absolutely 0 assets and no players on the team? What are we supposed to do with that? He's just going to leave.
I still think
he's from Chicago. He's going to give a shit. No, he won't.
I still think a guy like Karl Anthony Towns would have been perfect to push all your chips to the table and pick up, for all your
You think I don't fucking know this, Rudy? That's one of the first things I said with the Vucevic trade. First thing I was like, holy fuck. After that, I was like, I kind of wanted to trade for Cat though. Yeah. So I don't know how to feel about that.
You would have had to leverage literally every asset you had. I mean, trade, like maybe trades video or whatever. That was like one of the ones I had. I was like, all right, here's every possible asset that they can include. Minus one.
And I'm still not. I don't care if it's delusional. I'm still not willing to trade Patrick Williams for Cat. I don't care.
That was the one I left out. That's right.
That's the one everyone yells at me for that, and rightfully so. I think it's pretty ridiculous, but I don't care.
I mean, I said no to. I said I wouldn't trade Luke for Mike Conley. Is that the same? This was. Keep in mind, this was 2007.
Well, Cat is also young.
This was 2017, so Mike Conley was like what, 30?
Yeah, I remember those rumors for sure.
Yeah, you're not wrong for that one. I would agree on you with that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't think it would not have been good for the Grizzlies either, because I mean, we turned Mike Conley and his trade exception into like a dozen assets. Like Kleinman did an extraordinary job of maximizing that exception.
I think Patrick Williams at his best, and I really believe in him. I think he's going to be on a similar level to Cat, and he's a better fit with the Bulls' future. So I don't care.
The next Kawhi, right?
All you want. Absolutely. Absolutely. The next Kawhi. Except bigger and stronger and more athletic and better
and worse. And worse.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be as good. I mean, that's a pretty high fucking bar. So, yeah.
Damn it, Stacey King.
Yeah, I don't like the Paw nickname. It's terrible.
The Paw.
It's a horrible nickname. I would, though, like to see... he got his career high today because he actually got shot attempts. That's the thing, is that it's not his natural thing to be aggressive, so the Bulls need to get him the opportunity, and they did that.
I'm gonna go refill up my water bottle real quick.
He has 24 points. Have fun with that, Mojo. Yeah, I don't care if it's biased. I know it's biased, but I can't not. My head won't allow it to happen.
Here's why I don't like Stacey King. I liked him for many years.
I understand why you don't like Stacey King.
Well, there was one specific thing that he did this year. Actually, he did it twice. We went to United twice, and he did this. So Saddiq Bey wins like Rookie Player of the Week or something like that.
I don't know.
And the next game after he was announced that it was announced that he got it, Saddiq comes out and misses like 4 threes in a row. And Stacey King's like, I thought this guy was the player of the week. This guy kind of fucking stinks. Like, he was just talking his shit the whole game about Saddiq Bey. The next time we go to Chicago, we're in United Center. This is like 2 months later. He's like, I thought that he did it again. Saddiq misses a few shots. I thought this guy was the one time the player of the week this year. This guy fucking stinks. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? What's the problem? Stacey King, what's the problem with Saddiq Bey here?
I mean, I've only ever had the perspective of him praising Bulls players. I don't think about him hating on other players. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that routinely, but I just don't notice it. because I'm watching from a Bulls fan perspective. He's just a very good color commentator for whenever something crazy happens. Him screaming is it's pretty much the best of the best. Like in terms of like getting a highlight and getting a good call on a highlight, Stacey has you on that every fucking time.
Sure.
But he does, and I noticed this, he repeats himself so much. Like he says the same thing so often. Specifically, he's a fucking old head, which I'm not surprised. But anytime the Bulls take a mid-range shot, anytime, any fucking time, he says two phrases. The art of the mid-range jump shot, and the Bulls didn't take many mid-range shots last year. Every time. And the Bulls shoot a lot of mid-range shots now. So I have to hear this 15 times a fucking game. It's like, I get it, Stacey. I watched the team too. I know they didn't shoot as many mid-range shots last year. I was also watching.
You got to play the hits.
It's not just that. That's just an easy example I can point to. He repeats himself so often.
Yeah.
I don't watch. I almost never watch games with audio because almost every commentator annoys me, and I understand that's more a me problem. That like almost every commentator annoys me.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, the NBA's commentary game is fucking weak. Like, I feel like this is common knowledge amongst NBA hipsters, especially to do a callback. NBA commentary, just like all of it. Yeah. It's weak in general.
I've heard
Mike Breen or bust.
I've heard, Mike Breen or the Hornets guys.
Right, those guys are awesome.
Specifically, I've heard multiple, like every time they do like Steph Curry's shot against OKC, international calls. Yeah. There's so much energy in those, and it's not as much the same with American calls. I don't know if that's a cultural thing or what, but it's much more reserved. And I think it's much more fun when the commentators approach it from a perspective of, I'm just a fan watching this shit, telling you what's happening. This is fucking awesome. Yeah. And that's another thing about commentators, especially because it's so many former players. Everything is so negative all the time.
R.I.P. Chris Webber's career.
What's wrong? What happened to his career?
He stopped. I don't know.
Oh, thank God.
You didn't know that?
He used to be good, man. He used to be good. No, I swear to God, at the beginning of Chris Webber's career, he was good. And then one year, it's like he got some bad advice where they're like, hey, stop with your in-depth analysis and try to put some more personality out there. And then he just started being terrible because his personality isn't good.
Like so many, like Stacey does this as well. He'll go, you got to stop living by the... You gotta stop living by the 3-pointer. You can't take so many threes. It's like, shut up, Stacey.
I'm sorry, but did someone just go like dunk? Am I the only one that heard that?
I did not hear that. It might have been a weird audio thing.
All right, man. Whatever. We'll see if it comes up in the recording.
What's your favorite college team?
It was like someone in a cartoon got like hit on the head with a club.
You heard a bonk?
Yes, I heard a bonk.
Damn it, I thought Nick was appreciating my joke. He was appreciating yours. Oh, well. What the fuck are we talking about? Oh, yeah. So it's so many old players that just shit on the modern game. And it's like, look. Yeah. There
it is again.
I just heard that.
Okay, so someone's bonking.
Someone's bonking.
Well, it was in the span of it literally within like 2 or 3 days. Chris Webber and Marv Albert. Like, it was really like Marv Albert was literally today that he's like, once the playoffs are done, he's done.
I didn't know that either.
Go ahead and check our group chat.
Your mic came unplugged.
Your mic is unplugged. Were you playing bonking noises?
I wasn't the one playing.
No, yeah, his mic was muted. And it couldn't have been me because I was hearing it. Nick, are you bonking?
You've been fucking with us this
I had done it like 15 other times.
Oh, okay. No.
And just nobody heard it. I was making me so mad.
I only heard it twice, so whatever, man. Wow, we got bonked. That's really something.
Bonked, bitch. Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Am I just... No?
There it is.
Dude, I'm doing a video on Invincible right now for the film channel, and I was talking about Steven Yeun, who played Glenn on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I edited a clip from The Walking Dead when he gets hit by the bat, and I put the bonk.
That's good shit. Walking Dead, the first series of episodes, the video game, that shit made me cry. That was one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for that question. Callback, but
I didn't like those games.
Really? That's
season 1.
I've literally never heard anyone say that. Can you elaborate more on that opinion?
Season 1. Well, it's not actually a good video game, but it's a good story.
No. Sure, I totally get that. The immersion. I just wasn't sucked into that world at all, and maybe it's just Telltale's design as a whole. I just didn't.
You don't like the 3D comic book look?
No, no.
Yeah, I don't care for the presentation of it. But
how do you feel about Into the Spider-Verse? That's.
I would have to have seen it.
If you don't like Into the Spider-Verse, you haven't seen it?
I've purposely not watched it.
Well, one of the best movies I've seen. I don't like comic book movies.
Only thing I've ever heard about that movie is that it's the best Marvel movie that people have ever. Not Marvel.
It's in a different class. It doesn't belong with the rest of the superhero movies.
Yeah,
I'm offended, Nick.
Does this bother you more than when I said I didn't really care for The Last of Us?
No, but thanks for reminding me.
That made you really mad. Like you were
reminding me of that.
You were real life mad at me for that one.
That's my favorite game of all time. My first tattoo is going to be a Last of Us tattoo.
That's fine. I support it, brother, 100%. But I'm good. It's all right.
Pull out the blicky. Anyways.
you mean your machete? You ain't got no fucking gun. You have a machete. We've been over this dozens of times.
Yeah, I pull out the machete. You got to watch Into the Spider-Verse.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Quit bonking.
Absolutely. If you don't, wait 1 second. If you don't watch Into the Spider-Verse, I'm coming to Chicago and this is going to be you.
Boom. Yep, there it is.
Well, if I we'll make a deal. If I watch Spider-Verse, then I get to film you and Kenny's one-on-one.
That I was already cool with that. That sounds fun.
Oh, you were serious? Oh, sure. That'd be fun. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure he has a cameraman, but you just take his position.
Well, it's his girlfriend usually, isn't it?
I don't know. One-on-ones, I don't think it's his girlfriend.
Well, whenever he does
one-on-ones, when I've seen him play basketball, it's not been his girlfriend.
Gotcha.
I think when he filmed giving his mom a car, it was his girlfriend filming.
When he does like with that crate unboxing, the mystery boxing we were talking about earlier,
his girlfriend's behind.
It was his girlfriend.
Someone's a cameraman.
Yeah.
That's great business strategy. Don't hire somebody. Just get your girlfriend.
100%.
Just use romance.
That's a good tip for you, Mojo.
And we've already exploited your girlfriend once for the pod. Just navigate that same strategy to the channel.
All right. Well, you gotta watch Into the Spider-Verse and get back to me on that. If you haven't watched Invincible, watch that, and that goes for everyone here.
Was that on Amazon?
Amazon Prime, yeah. Unfortunately, you have to give Amazon money.
Yeah, no, I'm
which
good.
Is not.
That's okay. I've heard nothing but good things, but yeah,
it's such a good show though, and my family already had it, so it's. But yeah, I gotta head out, so.
Plug your platforms, Nicolas. You've done a very excellent job of organically plugging yourself.
I had something I wanted to ask you.
Do you want to ask it? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. What is your plan with your Twitter account? Do you have any aspirations of making content or talking about basketball a job in any way? Ooh. And if you don't, allow me to bully you into doing that because you should.
So this is a question from you, not from Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, this is kind of loaded. If you have to go, I don't want to.
Give me the quick synopsis.
In an ideal world, yes, I would create content for all 30 teams in the league. That would be ideal. I would obviously primary the Pistons. In terms of the direction that I want to take, I'm not totally sure. I am reluctant to always put a bunch of time and effort into videos that I feel like probably won't bang. So that's always been. You don't even have
to. That's the thing. You can make.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's the thing.
Posting works.
You're very entertaining on camera. So my thing is, you don't have to put any effort into the editing or anything like that. Just get in front of a camera, talk about your opinion on something, and then there'll be an audience for that eventually, especially when you have people like that already on Twitter.
I will say this, getting bullied about it doesn't hurt. Because people are mean to me. Like people are like, you need to kind of start, you should make some shit. Like, stop being dumb. Usually that helps. That's a good motivator for me. No, I know what you're doing. But all right, plugging my socials. So my Twitter is @Nicolas Henkel. NICOLASHENKEL. I do co-host the Bun and Cardigan Show again with James Edwards III of The Athletic. Yeah, I'm the Bun. He's the Cardigan.
I could tell.
Yeah, I guess.
That doesn't help with the Joakim Noah thing.
Jesus Christ. I forgot that's how we started the show. That feels like ages ago. We are primarily the Pistons on that show, obviously, because he has all the information about the team because he's around them all the time. And we drop episodes Mondays and Thursdays. We just had Vincent Goodwill on the other day. That was very cool. And we had Nicolas Duncan on. Most people know who Nicolas is. He's like the dad of NBA Twitter. We had him on a few weeks ago. And that's it. That's where you can find me. I'm not going to plug my TikTok because fuck that app.
You get your one novelty viral TikTok and then they just let you fall off a cliff, I guess.
I only listen. I'm not going to. No. I made one TikTok, but I'll say it off the air. No, I don't like TikTok.
Okay. I have to go for real. So,
yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.